One. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Ursula de Cruz. Welcome to the podcast Career Conversations. The aim of the show is to help students choose from different career options. Today's show is about careers in accounting, and I'm joined today by Mr. Jameel Awachi. Mr. Awachi is a qualified accountant with many years of experience in investment banking and advisory. He is presently the managing partner of Vintage Consultants, an advisory and accounting firm. In addition, he holds the record of being the youngest Bahraini person to clear his ACCA exams. Thank you for joining me today, Mr. Awachi.
Thank you, Ursula.
Without further ado, let's take a deep dive in today's topic. So, what would someone in your profession generally do?
Well, my profession is a multi-ended profession where we start by being accountants. You can always just define us as we create books of accounts or we develop books of accounts. But in fact, a person like myself would help institutions develop their books of accounts, will help read the financial information to direct their company strategy and objectives and future, looking at the past performances, solving issues, creating cuts and budgets, etc., etc. So it's a broad range, but all in all, it's more of analyzing financial information to come up with best strategy fit.
Yes, I'm sure every day must be different for you.
Of course.
And what made you decide to pursue this profession?
Well, I decided to become a chartered accountant at the age of 15. I was in grade 9 at school, and I personally loved the subject accounting. Then I was talking to a couple of chartered accountants in the country who were telling me it's so challenging and it's very difficult to do and it's very difficult to achieve it, and you're better off doing something else. The passion and the understanding of the basics of accounts drove me to decide at the age of 15 that this is my career plan and this is what I'm going to do, and I'll do the subjects and I'll do my reading and I'll be interested in areas of this background. Further, once I went into university, I decided to work actually every summer holiday whenever I'm back in an area which developed my knowledge of this industry more. And then I coupled with a couple of let's call it summer jobs in that area that made me fix and decide that this is my career path. I'm going to become a chartered accountant. And I was aiming to become the youngest ACCA member, and I achieved that at the age of 23.
Yes. And what choice of subjects did you do in college to enable you to get into this profession?
Okay, let me share my thoughts on the subjects and of this matter. In this region, we always define our path by going into a certain subject in school and then decide to go to do certain subjects at university in your first degree, and then you move on to your job or job market and say, this is the job I'm doing. I studied geography, so I have to work in an area with geography. I studied history, I have to go to a museum. But that's a wrong understanding of the educational system. First degree, which is the bachelor's degree, is a as it's called, a first degree, can involve you being studying anything from engineering to biology to math to sports, and that's what I came to know later on. Post that, that gives you a certain understanding and basic knowledge of how to develop research, how to analyze and understand, how to create your future, let's call it contributions to your industry by reading, researching, understanding what others have done, and contributing to the subject and to the world and to humanity with your own mindset, something new or expanding on something existing. If you look, for example, at the computer world or the IT world, it started off by having people developing areas in Excel and programming and websites, where now we are developing the future and we're developing robots doing everything for us. So it's a continuation where you don't have to study IT in school to become a person who contributes to that industry a lot. You can study more or research more in more senior years. For example, when I became a chartered accountant, that's the time my other colleagues were people in geography, were people in biology, but with the experience of work in one of the big four and your qualification, your professional qualification, you can decide which area and path you wish to go to. So back to your question of what did I study? I actually went for a path that was aligned with the ACCA, so that I would choose the choice subjects. Your basic subjects are there for business and business studies and accounting and management system and business information system. There are basic studies, basic subjects. Law, for example, you might think it's irrelevant, but law is a compulsory subject where all of us have to study it. Business law, for example. Then we've got basics of accounting, financial reporting, economics, audit, management accounting. Um, you name it, there is a set of maybe 15, 20 subjects that you've got to finish over the years of your first degree study. And then you move on to strategic financial planning and development and business analysis and audits and financial reporting. So that's more specialized in the ACCA path, which are main subjects to complete.
Yes. And how did your working career progress?
I started off, as I told you, I came every summer when I was studying, and I worked in different industries. One was oil and gas. The other one was an FMCG company in Bahrain. Finally, I took up a, a 2 months internship program or summer internship program in PricewaterhouseCoopers, which is one of the big four. And that landed me to my first job because I was in my final year, and I was chosen even before I finished my studies. So that gave me a better push to pursue this career in audit. And then I became a qualified accountant while I was working at the Big Four. Um, did a lot of audits, did a lot of assignments, financial assignments, consultancy work, specialized audit like Sarbanes-Oxley and things that came up during that era, which we didn't study in university, but you would always have to take that path. Then I moved to investment. I liked actually assignments to do with investment banking, investment projects, transaction advisory, as they would call it there, which landed me finally in investment banking. And I did that for around 4 to 5 years. After which, me and a group set up a consultancy firm to provide some of the services that were provided by the Big Four. And actually, with a list of clients, we decided to pursue our own, experience. Of course, experiences are huge, but if you would direct them to what we could work on today, they could be limited to certain areas. I mean, we've got a division that does small accounting services, which in the Big Four you would never get that experience. I'm a bit focused on venture capital, which in the investment banks I wouldn't do that because we are more of risks and measures, and you can't work on smaller deals. So it's a bit enthusiastic to work with these businesses. We're working with listed companies too, so I'm not saying we have downgraded our services, but we get the chance to experience the rise of smaller companies, family businesses into the listing markets, etc., etc. So this is how the career started and reached there.
I'm certain that the transitions must have been quite smooth.
Very smooth.
Yes. And what would you say is a necessary expertise or the most critical skill for someone to have within this field?
Let me give you more than a skill, it's an advice. Always give a 5% extra to what's expected from you. So you're expected to do A to Z. Figure out where is the other 5% that you have to give out and show them that you could do Z to A together with it, P to Q in the middle. Decide what to do, because that was a changer in my career. Every milestone that I've reached, I've always shown that I've got that 5%, that extra 5%, and that's where a person is to be, let's call it, valued for, or looked upon to, as in his career path or enhancement, or choosing him for a right path. Back in when I got my first job, I'll just, if you don't mind me just citing this example or this experience, I was in my 2 months summer internship. And after a month or so, I started a new assignment with a senior who's there. I was assigned to him, and we went to the client for one day, and we're supposed to do some reporting requirements by the central bank. The next day, this person was on leave, so he left for his summer leave, and I was all alone doing nothing. I decided to take that last year's project, or look at the last year's and other clients' work, develop it for the clients without anyone knowing, because I was on summer internship. I wasn't even in charge of doing it. And I started working on my own and developed one like that, the same reporting requirement that they wanted. So I went to the partner just before I finished my course, because I had 3 weeks left, and I had to go back to university. And I told him, there you go. I've developed this report that is required on the bank, on the client. And he asks, where is your senior? And I said, my senior is on leave. And he asks, who did it? I said, myself. He reviewed it, and the result wasn't a thank you, but in fact, the result was, we would want to offer you a position in our company, and this was a Big Four, next year. When I moved to the other company, I was actually supposed to just go and do my assignment, spend 8, 10, 12 hours on a client per day. But I started to get that 5% extra by inviting clients and selling our services, which wasn't expected from me. And that was a milestone that they were looking at, that this could be a potential partner. When you go to investment banking, you do the same. You're not supposed to do something, but you will always spend some time in developing yourself in that area. So my advice to everyone in whatever field it is, spend that extra 5%, which is not expected from you, and that will really take you to areas that you don't expect to be.
Yes, I'm certain that the hard work has paid off now.
Definitely.
And if someone were keen to go into this field, what words of advice would you give them?
Word of advice: give it all you have. Just don't do the job for the sake of the job itself, because there is 100 industries and 100 career paths. I've seen a lot of my friends who did piloting, studied to become a pilot, and this industry is really, You could end up graduating and not finding a job, and then your whole career is changed. But it's nothing to do with what you studied. Again, they came back and they became much stronger than people who actually studied professions. Same, for example, insurance. For example, one of my friends actually became a doctor after he studied for being a pilot. So my advice is give it all you have, and a career is your luck. Really, you might decide to study automotive engineering but end up being a bank CEO. So you never know where you land. So give it all you have, be systematic, and be clean, be on the clean side, because there is always two types of jobs when you become a consultant or an accountant. You can work for the good people and you for the sake of good cause, and you can work for the bad people and for bad cause. When you do a professional qualification, you will always understand that you are governed by this profession, not by a country's law or by family or by religion, but in fact your profession guides you to become a better and more moral person, your integrity untouched, etc., etc. So work with integrity and give it all you have, and that's it. You will reach to where you need.
Yes, I'm certain that the viewers would have found this very helpful. Thank you for your time, Mr. Awachi.
Thank you, Ursel, and good luck.
Thank you. And thank you to the viewers for watching.